Stormy? No last name?
Smith.
Really?
Yes.
Stormy Smith. I understand you're just going down. You may pass.
What's going on, guys? This is Mark here at the Vault of Souls at the corner of Twiggs and Zag here in downtown Tampa, and I am at the Vault of Souls, and I am with the paranormal expert Frank. He is exploring the space here at the vault and trying to exorcise the demons. Am I correct?
No, that would be an overgeneralization of what we do here. This area is sort of like a grand central station of activity. You can't choose, in most cases, who exactly you're looking to speak with. It's like talking to a room full of people. When you want to talk to one spirit, they all hear you. It's best if you have a method of channeling that energy or those communications, and that's what I'm experimenting with here in various ways of trying to see how we can best focus, those thoughts, those feelings, in ways that we can appreciate and understand them.
So, how long have you been doing this here at the vault?
I couldn't put a time. Sometimes it feels like forever.
And how dangerous would you say these spirits are?
How dangerous are people?
What is the most interesting experience you've had so far?
Well, there's a lot of interesting stories that we have here. It's different for every person. It's important. Sometimes we get messages and we don't know what they mean, and then it turns out sometime later on we realize it comes to fruition. Oh, that's the message they were trying to convey. Yeah, somebody might get a message about not going near a water, having a feeling of something like that, and it's very vague and it's hard to understand sometimes. But then you realize later on that when you step across a puddle, or if you avoided going on that boat that later on crashed, or whatever happened, you realize, oh, that's what that meant. So sometimes the experiences aren't as significant in the moment as they are later on when the realization of what that meant, comes to mind.
So, what exactly are you doing at the vault?
I just am here trying to get a sense of things, and I help people with their experiences here. I've had my own experiences with learning how these spiritual elements and how these experiences are most manifested, and so I try to use those for myself to try to gain more insight into what we can learn here, but also help others to get something from it for themselves, because it's like being a telephone operator. Sometimes it feels like you'd love to be able to take your own phone calls, but sometimes there's more pressing matters, and I like to be able to facilitate those connections.
And if I'm correct here, you said you had something to show us earlier.
Well, before you got here, I don't know if you're familiar with tarot cards at all, but I had some that I think are significant. I don't know if they're significant for you, but I'll set them aside. We won't use them for now. I'll set them on the table, but I want you to know that they were put there ahead of time, and they may be for you, so they may be of some personal significance. I'm not sure yet. Have you ever had a reading with a tarot card reader? Ever experiment with anything delving with fortune telling?
Nothing professional. I
Okay.
have been to New Orleans.
Oh, all right. Well, what I'm going to do is I have a set of major Arcana cards here. Tarot cards actually were the predecessors of contemporary playing cards. They've sometimes been used as calendars, sometimes been used simply as a novelty, but we're going to try to see if they have something significant for you. I need a single card for you that will come out of this stack here. So if you would, give the cards a cut, please. And you're happy with that selection. If not, we can start over.
That is fine.
Perfect. We'll mark it for just a moment. Now, what those cards enable us to do is get a semblance of a unifying theme. Typically, this is of some personal significance to you, either of a life choice or some description of yourself personally. So your card is going to be here. We'll get rid of the rest. Now what I'm going to try to do is I'll use these cards, which these are the minor Arcana cards. These are what our contemporary playing cards are. The major ones were dropped off, and now we're left with a deck of around 50 some odd cards here.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to get a sense from these cards about whatever is important in your life. Now, to do this, since we've never met, and we didn't prearrange anything ahead of time, I know nothing about you. We have literally just met within the last, we'll call it 5 minutes or so.
Correct.
Right. So what I'll need from you is something that you don't feel ashamed or embarrassed about revealing, a name personal to you, a personal emotional significance, and something I wouldn't have known, something that no one here at the vault could have told me beforehand, nothing I could have called one of your friends or family members and said, I'm going to be meeting with Mark later, I'm going to ask him to give me a name, what name do you think he would tell me? So long as you're confident that this would be a personal name that only you would have known or thought to provide me, that will be sufficient. What name will that be?
That will be Dave.
Dave. Okay, and no way I could have known that.
No.
Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to try to take a reading, try to select some cards, and see if I can... There's one. They might not make sense by themselves individually, but hopefully there's another. Hopefully towards the end they will make more sense. There it is right there. Yes. And last... right here. All right. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm going to try to do anything that is artificial in any way. I don't want you to think that I'm going to try to elicit any information from you. So a simple yes or no to anything I provide will be sufficient. Just so I know if I'm perceiving things the right way, and you can help to establish validation, if that's correct.
All right.
All right. It's perfectly natural for a Sagittarius, by the way, to be skeptical. You are a Sagittarius, right?
I am not.
You're not, okay. I got a strong feeling about that from you, though. Were you born towards that time of the year?
You are close.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so that you have some element of that within yourself. You seem to pick things apart a lot. I don't know if that would be an accurate description of you. That you have that essence of the Sagittarian in you. So here we are. The Nine of Pentacles. Typically, this references somebody who is connected with nature or connected with the arts in some way. Despite its monochromatic appeal on the card, there's a strong connection to vibrant colors. You know, the changing of the seasons is often associated with this. Now, is there... You know what? I'll come to it in a moment. I'm not sure what that means in a moment. Now, the Ace of Pentacles stands for the giving of some significance. Sometimes it's associated with holidays or celebrations. Sometimes it's associated with the harvest. I would associate it with you with a relationship. This is a close personal relationship. The person that, to be more specific, the person that this would be associated with would be a person whose name you would say every day. And I get a feeling that there's been the significance for this relationship comes in the summertime, comes in the middle of the calendar year. I'd say around June. If that makes sense to you, I hope it does. Then I would say that a token, a symbolic giving similar to this, would be appropriate most for you and this person in June. Okay. Now the Six of Wands has to do a lot with travel and responsibility. I see you as a harbinger of travel related. And I know this may seem superficial in that you're providing an interview at this moment, but I feel that there's something significant and symbolic with you when it comes to travel and bringing news is going to be, this is going to be odd, but I believe this is a permanent emblazing of something that is innate within you. Now, I don't see any markings on you, but if you were the type to get a tattoo, I would say that you you would, if you've ever been a part of a fraternity, some guys get brands, some guys get tattoos, but I would say that you would have something. Now you laugh. I don't know. I know that's comical to think about, but I would say that you would be the type.
I'm laughing because I have 5 that I keep hidden.
Oh, I see. Okay, so perfect. Well, that I'm very thankful for that. Well, then, I would say that one of those hidden, I'm assuming it's a tattoo and not a brand. I would assume that one of those tattoos has to do with travel, or a specific location even. I get the feeling that it's more city than country. I don't get an impression of trees and that type of thing. This would be something very substantial, like a skyline. That's the image I get. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Okay. Well, I'm glad it does. Okay. Good. Which brings us to the Knight of Pentacles, which is. That's interesting because the Knight of Pentacles has to do, as we were talking about earlier, with arts and as you can tell, both of these characters are drawn horseback, having to do with travel. But this one, just like, the Nine of Pentacles has to do with art and color. And now you may notice there's an ocean or a sea or a body of water in the background. This person often is, in other lores, associated with being like a fisherman or someone who would care, would be of husbandry, of aquatic creatures, so I don't know if that's accurate. That's so weird for me to, that's peculiar. I don't. Why I'm hesitant is because I get a name. And I don't know what this means, Thomas or Tommy? Tommy. Yeah, Tommy. Is that someone who's had an influence in your life?
I have a brother named Tommy.
You have a brother named Tommy. Okay, gotcha. Now I have that person associated with a female name as well. Cynthia?
That would be my mother.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Now, who's the Leo in your life that's significant? You don't know. That's fine. That's fine. But I will tell you that later on, do you have somebody in your, I would say immediate family, but typically this is like a grandparent. That's the feeling that I get. And I don't want to say recently passed. This person has been passed. It feels like beyond a decade. I would say maybe even 2 decades. Your grandmother, she's not with us.
No.
Okay, good. I mean, not good. I'm sorry. That's. I don't mean to be insensitive. I just mean that would make more sense for me now. Do you know her name? If I was to ask, you can just yes or no, but...
No, she died when I was...
When you were very young.
Very young, yes.
Okay, we'll look this up for later. The feeling that I get, and if I'm wrong, we won't know because it won't happen in this moment, but I get that she is a Gemini. I want to say her name starts with an E, like Evelyn. So... Please feel free to check that later. I don't know if that means anything, but that's very, very clear to me. But now, let me get back to this. The card you have here has to do with new beginnings. The feeling I get, at least, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but I feel it has to do with some change that is going to be coming soon. And it's a positive change. It's a unification, and the impression I get is that this is a leader. And I would say it's the Magician. Check it out. It is. What's weird is before you got here, I had that card separated here as well. Now I will leave you with this. I mean, I hope that this reading, while it may seem vague, was helpful to you, but you remember these cards I set down at the very beginning?
Yes.
All right, now, this would be the only part that, if you were to record this for later for yourself, would be helpful. I said they were important. I didn't know if they had to do with you, but I did say they were important. Let me show you what I mean, and I'll try to turn this way so that you can get a sense of. Here we go. Do you see?
Nice.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. All right.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm still here at the Vault of Souls. This time I am with Scott, the creative director and founder of this event. Scott, give us a little background on what the Vault of Souls is.
Well, the Vault of Souls is a very elegant evening of fear. It's designed for adults who want to find a way that they can celebrate Halloween without having to wait in an outdoor queue line and for ungodly amounts of time, and then have people jump out and say boo a lot. We are the antithesis of that. That's a very cool event, don't misunderstand me, but it's certainly not what we are. We offer an alternative that starts in a 1920s cocktail party and then proceeds into a 12,000 square foot non-linear haunt experience, which means that there's no pathway. You must explore on your own, and you are encouraged, unlike other Halloween attractions or Halloween events, you're encouraged to pick things up, look at them, read them. You have to put them back. Also, the spirits may make physical contact with you to lead you or guide you. You'll then be perhaps asked to participate in a ritual or some sort of activity. It's incredibly interactive. And then as you come out, you end up in a 1920s gin joint or speakeasy, so you can have an adult beverage or two and listen to the 1920s jazz singers and the flappers that are there. Or you can go up to our third floor to the Reader's Clearing and have a tarot reading done and some coffee and some gelato. So a kind of a restful way to end the evening.
Nice. So let me ask, how did you pick this location to host the Vault of Souls?
This location actually picked me. The Wilson Company, which owns this building and all of the spaces that the Vault of Souls takes place in, contacted me and said, we want to do something very, very different for Halloween. Would you be interested? And I was very interested. So I came and I toured the space several times and let the storyline evolve from the space itself as well as from Tampa history.
Nice. So what historical figures would you say molded this event?
Well, I think the real stars of this event are the buildings themselves. The building that we're in right now is on the corner of Franklin and Twiggs. It was built in 1923, and it opened as the Exchange National Bank. That sort of inspired the whole mythology that we've created for this event, in the fact that this bank was built originally to hold worldly possessions. But in the 1920s, there were quite a few people who were earning their money in a way that was less than morally acceptable. A lot of bootlegging was going on. Gambling had just come over from Cuba. So they were concerned that their afterlife wouldn't be as comfortable as their existence in this plane. So the bank saw the opportunity and worked with local psychics, as well as the Native American tribe, the Creek tribe, which is a local tribe, to create a repository for people's souls. And ever since 1923, in October, when the veil between this world and the next is at its thinnest, the elite of Tampa have been invited to participate in a ritual that will allow them to be a resident in the Vault of Souls.
Very nice. Now, if I'm correct, you used to work for Busch Gardens Howl of Scream. How has that molded what you do at this event?
Well, Howl of Scream is a completely different event from what we're doing here, and it's a really nice change. You know, I learned a lot while I was able to work with a phenomenal team in Howl of Scream, and it gave me the opportunity and the experience to jump to the next level. And this is something that is so very, very different from really any other theme park Halloween event. It is designed to be a comfortable, slow, elegant evening.
So what you're saying is you're not so much trying to compete with the other local haunts.
We are not a haunt. We are not a haunt. We are an evening of performance art with a dark and sinister twist.
So how much can I expect to pay to come and experience this event?
Well, this is an incredibly personalized event, and therefore our the capacity and the number of people that can experience this event is incredibly limited. We do offer 3 different reservation packages. The Passbook account, again, because it's a bank, the Passbook account is $100. That includes admission to all of the spaces that I've just described. Then there is the Premium account, which is admission to all the spaces, plus it does include a certain number of complimentary drinks. It does include reserved seating in the gin joint. It does include a free tarot reading. It also, all of the reservations do include valet parking. They all include butler passed hors d'oeuvres here in the arrival. And then there's the highest end, which is the Gold Standard account, which includes all of the beverages, even the adult ones. It includes its own private lounge, which overlooks this room. And it also includes a limited edition copy of a book of poetry that was written specifically for this event. Yes, I wrote it, but it's inspired by the various characters that the guests will encounter.
And how long would you say that it typically takes to get through this performance?
Being our first year, it's very difficult to say that. It depends on how much the guests wish to invest. With the Passbook reservation, for example, they have a 30-minute window within this space that we're in right now, the arrival. They can take as much or as little time as they want when they are in the ritual. If they wish to read everything, it may take longer, and then they can party the night away in the gin joint. The gin joint is scheduled to stay open until 2 a.m.
So once you come for your event, you are welcome in the gin joint for the entirety of the evening.
After you have escaped from the ritual, yes.
And I think that was it.
The spirits took over for a minute, didn't they? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.